Welcome. In these times, we are called to step into the mess and murk of life.
Called to be strong and vulnerable.
Called to console and to challenge.
Called to be grounded and hold lofty ideals. Called to love in the face of hate.
We are called, and it is not easy.
And we will not always agree.
And we will yell and scream and cry.
And we will laugh and smile and sing.
We are called to be together. There is so much work to do.
And we cannot do it alone.
We need one another.
Holding each other accountable to our covenants, to the holy, to love and justice.
In these times, we are called. Rank by Rank is our first hymn. The words are on an inserted page. And we join in the words of our unison affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. El amor es el espíritu de esta iglesia, y el servicio es su ley. Este es nuestro gran pacto, vivir junto en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
Welcome. Welcome to folks who have never been here before, and welcome to folks who have been coming for decades and years. As they say, welcome if this is your first time or if it is your last time. We welcome you bringing all of who you are, bringing your triumphs and your hopes and your excitements, bringing your disappointments and your hurts and your anger, bringing the parts of you that are easy to show the world, the parts that society celebrates, and bringing the parts that are harder, more tender, that sometimes you are told to put away. We welcome folks with all different identities and abilities and experiences of this world, with different ways of being spiritual, with different understandings of what is most meaningful and holy. And we come together because we know that bringing all of this makes us stronger, makes us better able to deal with this broken and beautiful world. Today, after the service, there are a couple opportunities to engage more deeply in the beauty of this world and maybe some of the brokenness. There's some art you can view in the gallery opening in the Bacon Room above the common room that overlooks that room. And you also can get to know your new staff team better in the sanctuary. And those are both at 11:30. There's always so much happening. So if you want to get to know your new parish minister, which is me, your new interim director of religious education, which is Deb, and your new student minister, which is Jennifer Johnson, and you know, your good old stalwart senior minister, John Gibbons, will be there too. And today is the first Sunday where we're having religious education this year. And so one thing is that Deb is still looking for teachers and people to lead our children in their classes on Sunday mornings. We need folks in the nursery, for the pre-K and K class, for the K1 class, the second and third grade. So we also need folks for special programs. So there's a sign up in the common room where you can give some of your time and talent to this community. In that way, it's very important. And we are very excited to welcome all the children and the teachers to their classes later in the service. Please know, even if you are new, you are very welcome to come on down at that point. There will be a point to go head to those spaces, and we're very excited to be beginning on the journey. And now we have a special offering that John will tell us a little more about.
And that gallery opening is in the Bacon Room, which overlooks the town common.
The town common.
Yes, and you'll figure this out sooner or later, right?
Common room, town common. It's the same to me.
Maria, who is our guest in Sanctuary now for more than 8 months, has asked to greet us. Maria?
Buenos días. Dios les bendiga. Se ven muy lindos. Es lindo pararse uno aquí porque puede ver a toda la belleza del Señor.
She said, "Good morning, and may God bless all of us. We look very beautiful this morning."
Que Dios bendiga a todo el cuerpo de voluntarios que me han ayudado siempre, a mis maestros que están aquí, personas muy lindas que han estado conmigo. Dios los bendiga. Estoy muy agradecida por todo lo que han hecho conmigo. Que Dios los bendiga mucho.
She asks that God bless all the sanctuary volunteers who come. and her teachers who come to teach her English, and all the beautiful people who have supported her. She's very grateful and asks that God will bless all of us.
Que Dios bendiga a los niños. Los amo, los quiero. Pero hay dos personas que me roban mi corazón. Bram, Lloyd, los quiero mucho. Mi pastor, que Dios los bendiga.
She asks that God will bless all the children, and there are two particular people who have her heart, Lois and Brown Pulliam, and also el pastor, the pastor, John Gibbons.
Los quiero mucho y los amo con todo mi corazón y nunca se me olvidará lo que han hecho conmigo.
She thanks everyone from the bottom of her heart. She will never forget what we have done for her.
No es que sea aprovechada, pero aprovecho mi tiempo para decirle a ustedes que los amo y los quiero mucho y viven en mi corazón. Un beso para todos y abrazos.
She's not one to take advantage, but she wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you and to know that we will always be in her heart.
Estoy agradecida primeramente con Dios y yo quiero cantar un canto para Dios y para ustedes.
And she's very thankful also to God, and she wants to sing a song to God and for us.
Amén. Ayúdame, Señor, te ruego, para llegar al final. No dejes tú que el enemigo robe mi felicidad. Sí, Señor, gracias, Padre. Gracias por este momento, Señor, tan especial. Bendiga a cada uno, Dios. Bendiga esta casa, Señor, a las familias. Espíritu Santo. Ayúdame, Señor, te ruego, para llegar al final. No dejes tú que el enemigo robe mi felicidad. Aleluya. Gracias, Señor. Gracias, Espíritu Santo. Mi alma te adora, Padre. Que la honra y la gloria sea para usted, mi Jesús. Amén. Aleluya. Gracias, Señor. Aleluya. Que Dios les bendiga. Gracias, pastor.
In a few moments, when the offering basket makes its way to you, I invite you to let your gift be a holy offering to this church that is a sanctuary for body and spirit and heart, be it joyful or aching or full of love, to this church that is an incubator of love and justice beauty and joy in a broken world. Let your gift be an act of resistance against the powers that be, which would have us believe that life is a competition and the winners take all. Let your gift be an affirmation of the abundance that we make when one and all of us come together to give and receive in the spirit of love. We will now receive the morning offering.
What kind of a place is this? I think most of you know about our series of First Parish bumper stickers. There's the most radical thing we can do is to introduce ourselves to one another. Then there is a limited edition, on the edge of the pew at First Parish, a one buttock place to be. And most recently, well-behaved churches seldom make history, which of course is a takeoff on well-behaved women seldom make history. On the radio last week, I heard a Chinese-American woman say that being well-behaved was for her a cultural norm and expectation. Guai is Chinese for well-behaved, and so growing up, she and her rebellious teenage friends competed to be the most un-Guai. That would raise some eyebrows if we could work un-Guai into a bumper sticker in Chinese. Going back in First Parish history, certainly before my time, there has been some boat-rocking, rebellious misbehavior in our congregational history. Dave Weisbard and Jack Mendelson both had arrest records. Our parishioner Mimi Adler once chained herself to a tree in defense of the environment. And these days, there remains here an energy that is like no other place. Frequently, people who have moved away say they've tried other churches, but there's a spark, a spunk, a vitality here that is incomparable. Now, that's not to say that our energy is everybody's cup of tea. It's not. There really are people who would prefer things here to be more well-behaved, more guai, and I respect others' choices. A piece of not being well-behaved is being risk-taking. Ours is a risk-taking congregation. Risk-taking, too, is a youthful virtue and vice. Let me count the ways. Being a sanctuary church is a remarkable risk. We are standing up to the United States government. Those people have nuclear weapons. There are only 30 or 40 faith communities in the country that have someone living in sanctuary. We are, to my knowledge, the only such UU church in New England. For us to be in covenant with 10 other congregations in this area and to have 400 trained volunteers here 24/7 is astonishing. And to know that we are responsible for a fellow human being's life and have significant responsibility for her family as well, that is no adolescent risk, but an adult risk and a noble purpose that is humbling and sobering and indeed focuses our mind. I am reminded of Lauren Isley's story of the star thrower, which is today's thought to ponder. At the seashore, seeing scads of live starfish wash up, he threw back into the sea, the live ones, only to have many more wash up again and again. Some called his efforts useless. So too, given the enormity of the global immigration crisis, it is tempting to call our life-saving efforts useless. And yet, as Isley said of the starfish, it matters to this one. A second prime example of our misbehaving, boat-rocking, frisky riskiness is our continuing effort to confront climate change and to reduce our own reliance on fossil fuels. When First Parish was denied approval to install solar panels on this roof, we took the town of Bedford to court, and we won. We sued our own members, for crying out loud. That is not generally the way to win friends. And now we will argue for solar panels on the floor of the November town meeting. And while we are adamant and convinced that we are on the right side of history, I will implore us to be respectful, cordial, and should we prevail, I would have us neither applaud nor cheer nor self-congratulate, but rather heave a great sigh of relief. First Parish takes risks musically, don't you know? We take risks budgetarily. We take risks in our pursuit of accessibility for people of all abilities and disabilities. We take risks internationally. What is our haunted house but a bold warning to enter at your own risk? We take risks spiritually. Be sure to notice our new flaming chalice stained glass window in our common room, which we will dedicate sometime this fall. That is one risky fire hazard, the fieriest flaming chalice the world has ever seen. Bedford School Superintendent John Sills recently spoke of his goals for this year, and he asked assembled teachers, how many Metco students are there among us? 85, someone guessed? No, he said. There are 2,415 because we are all Metco students. We are all in this together. And I would say the same for us, be it sanctuary or climate justice or music or accessibility or religious education or ushering and providing coffee and welcoming newcomers. None of these are the work of some committee or group of other people. We are a sanctuary congregation. We are a church spiritually committed to living in harmony with nature. Here among us, all can teach and all can learn, and it's up to all of us to be a welcoming congregation in every possible way. And now for the elephant in the room. I believe that last June's decision by our board, with which I agreed, to make a change in our Director of Religious Education is another example of risk-taking. Though such changes happen elsewhere, no such unsettling changes have happened previously during my ministry. It is unusual and risky for a church to terminate employees. Churches are awkward, messy places for personnel issues. Everyone has a stake and everyone wants a say. Some ask, how could this have happened? And with a tumultuous outcome, it truly can cause one to choke on the words, love is the spirit of this church. In June, we had 2 facilitated open meetings which revealed the depth of hurt and anguish and deep division among us. We will have another such meeting next Sunday, albeit focused not so much on the past, but on how we are personally affected now and on what we are learning about ourselves. We aspire to be a learning congregation, and indeed this is an opportunity for all to learn. This is my truth. For a period of years, there was a growing division among us. Lisa Rubin's work was extraordinary and life-saving for some families. A significant number, an increasing number, were estranged. As Lisa's supervisor, I shared concerns as part of annual evaluations, and we tried to lessen these divisions. The board and I also wrestled with this for at least 3 years. Things came to a head last winter, exacerbated by issues of curriculum, youth programming, declining enrollment, and other issues. The Religious Education Committee was understandably defensive, yet neither the board nor I was eager for change. There was a price to be paid for action and a price for inaction. It was a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. The board fully anticipated and still regrets the pain and difficulty of change. One family has resigned from the church. Most of the RE committee has left the committee, choices both related and unrelated to Lisa's departure. One family has rejoined the church, and many have volunteered to form a new RE committee. One pledge has been cut, others have increased. How this shakes out, we yet do not know. We are and will remain unsettled for a while. Inevitably, some think this conflict is about Lisa, or Lisa and me, or Lisa and the board, or Lisa and some families. Gently, I urge us to frame this unsettled time as foremost being about the future of religious education in this congregation. How can we best provide the best religious education for all families? And again, religious education is about all of us. I have been meeting with many people, and I'm open to meeting with any others of you. And I know that some people have been angry, and some remain hurt and sad and untrusting. And even if they agree it was time for a change, many say there should have been a better way. I agree. I worked to find a better way, and I wish we had been more creative. My truth is that I do not know if there was a better way. A significant number of people are grieving, and we need time and opportunities to metabolize our grief. To have this outcome is a failure, and I share in responsibility. I wish that this had not happened this way. At General Assembly in June, I told a colleague about our difficulties with RE. He listened, then he said, "You've been in the ministry for a long time. As you go about recovering from this, I'm sure there are a lot of mistakes you won't make." He's right. I'll make new and different mistakes. You know, I often preach brightly about the opportunities of mistakes and failure. These are among the things I think we are learning. First and foremost, it's hard to tell the truth sometimes, and it is also hard to hear it. Communication became siloed between Lisa and me, and between the RE committee and the board. It might not have changed the outcome, but there were few opportunities, and we could have made more for the congregation to know more of the difficulties we were having. Furthermore, our personnel committee was among those that advised me and the board. Within our staff, we do have regular personnel reviews and expectations, but these can and will be made more robust. We are also learning that there must be turnover on all our committees. The RE committee does not exist only to support the RE director, but to engage the congregation and support the mission of religious education. How many people are involved in our RE program? All of us. Likewise, The Music Committee does not exist only to support our music directors, but to support the mission of our music. And just as true, the Committee on Ministry does not exist only to support our ministers, but to support the mission of our ministry. The Nominating Committee, oh my, when was the last time the Nominating Committee got mentioned in a sermon? The Nominating Committee must rethink its mission. How many people are in our leadership? All of us, as we are able, we must step forward and be leaders, each in our own way. In recent weeks, I've had at least 2 people ask me, why have I never been asked to be on the board? Believe me, this is the first time in 29 years anyone has ever asked me that question. Still, we must work to assure that our leadership is fully inclusive. Hey, speaking of being inclusive and thinking about things this congregation does a little differently and zestily, let's see if you still know how to do this. Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
We are not a well-behaved church. We are risk-taking. We do church differently. Sometimes this seems youthful, and sometimes we're simply adolescent. But if a purpose of the church is to afflict the comfortable and to comfort the afflicted, I'd say that we've done our share of afflicting. We've reached our quota. And it is high time we do some more comforting of the afflicted. We've spent a lot of effort getting the church to leave the building. I say that now is a good time for us to re-enter the building. Yes, we need to renew our efforts to introduce ourselves to one another, get to know one another, support one another in our spiritual struggles, honor our differences while holding one another in utmost respect and rebuilding our bonds of community. Your board has been on retreat Friday and yesterday, and strengthening our congregational community is a foremost priority. There is a widespread feeling that the needs of younger people and younger families are sorely unmet. Both our staff and our membership committee will be hosting spaghetti suppers and other events to better understand and serve these needs. We will create opportunities for us to introduce ourselves to one another, to speak our truths, to listen to others' truths, and better understand how it's going. Some of you may even remember cottage meetings. Perhaps they will come back again. In each pew, on the front of the order of service, there is a drawing. And I am the one up on the mast with the binoculars. Perhaps I was hoisted by my own petard. Quick, class, what's a petard? Ding, ding, ding. A petard is a bomb, a small explosive device. Thus, the bomb maker is blown up by his bomb. It seems I am one of the bomb makers around here. Kaboom. But I digress. We have new hands on deck. Annie and Jen and Deb, they embody fresh hope for this congregation. When hope has been hard to find, they give me hope for our future. They are, you soon will learn, the best. I want Annie and Jen to follow their bliss and take us places we have never been before. I say a particular word about Deb, who is our interim director of religious education, here with us for 2 years. Her job, which she will likely describe when she preaches to us in a few weeks, is not so much to be liked, likable though she is. Her job is to help us get our house in order, to systematically reorganize, assist in the transition from past to future, and to prepare us for whoever succeeds her so that we may have the best possible program of religious education for all our children, youth, and adults. Who is in our RE program? Deb and I say we all are. I want you to also look at the dashboard graphs. Copies of these were placed in the pews, which you may share. They are helpful, and most of those graphs bode very positively for us and our future. One that is of some concern is the slight dip in our attendance, and another graph shows, despite a steady increase in membership, some decline in our financial stewardship. The good news is that in both of those areas, attendance and stewardship, you can make a world of difference. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. In this coming year, in the words of our opening hymn, you will be implored to do so. While we made our biennial pilgrimage to Transylvania over the summer, I turned 66 years old. My Hungarian friends say that one should be a little nervous about turning 66. You know, God is looking down from the heavens, and there is a chance that God will see the 66 and read it upside down and conclude that I am 99. And then God may think, John is looking a little tired. Maybe it's time to bring him home. And just so you know, and because I'm asked the question with increasing frequency, I've got no intention of going anyplace anytime soon. It is true, in recent months, I have been discouraged by some things in this congregation, but I am also feeling fresh hope and fresh possibility. And I can smell some tiring work ahead of us as well. I have no desire to die in this pulpit, but eventually I do hope to retire, and while I don't know exactly when that will be, it will likely be within a couple of years, just so you know. So here's my big finish to this sermon. I am made speechless by Maria's singing, by her words, by her faith and her courage. What would we do if we were in her shoes? And let us remember, we are all in her shoes. Once in a while, we get into a conversation with Maria about religion. And last week, she had a lot to say. Basically, she said that she has no idea what Unitarian Universalism is all about. She doesn't really understand our religion. But, she said, when it comes to welcoming the stranger, giving food and clothing to those in need, comforting the sick, and visiting the imprisoned, this congregation really does these things. This congregation, Maria says, has earned a place in heaven. We told her that as Universalists, we believe all souls may be saved and all will go to heaven. But to that, Maria says, but in heaven, you will have crowns. Crowns with pearls. Think of that. I am reminded of the words of the great Howard Thurman, who said, a crown is placed over our heads that for the rest of our lives we are trying to grow tall enough to wear. Despite the crassness of life, despite all the hardness of life, despite all the harsh discords of life, life is saved by the singing of angels. We are, my friends, shorter than we would be. We have fallen short. We have some growing to do. Not some of us, but all of us. Here in this good place, a crown is placed over our heads that we are trying to grow tall enough to wear. Despite all crassness, all hardness, all harsh discords, life is saved by the singing of angels. That's where you come in. Our final hymn is We Would Be One. It's number 318. And just a word about this hymn. This hymn was written as the LRY hymn, Liberal Religious Youth, our old high school organization, a hymn of youth, of not always well-behaved idealism. A long time ago, the first time I went to India when I was in my 20s, I'd be in some remote place where people would sing to me and then they would ask me to sing to them. I would sing the only two songs I knew, Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and this hymn, We Would Be One. As usual, the cowardly weasels who edited our hymnal changed the words of the first line from We Would Be One as now we join in singing our hymn of youth to We Would Be One as now we join in singing our hymn of love. Well, whatever. We believe in love. We also believe in youth, risk-taking, boat-rocking youth. You can choose which word to sing. And now, sing, you short, unguai, boat-rocking, misbehaving angels. Sing. Do it.
Amen.
Turn, please, to the responsive reading at number 637, a litany of atonement. A litany of atonement for remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference. We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that we have struck out in anger without just cause, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For the selfishness which sets us apart and alone, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For losing sight of our unity, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love. For those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness, we forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.